Okay, check the mic check. This is the first TED Talk by Luke Plusha, and most likely the last TED Talk by Luke Plusha. The title of my TED Talk is Motivation is Crap. Nearly every year, the same thing happens to me and to many. New Year's comes around, and I set these awesome goals to accomplish by the end of the year. Goals that really help me grow as an individual. Some include running 1,000 miles, eating better, going to the gym 3 times a week, reading 10 books, and much more. The first week goes great. I'm running, I'm active, eating well, reading books. I'm on a high. Week 2 passes and I'm still rolling through hitting my marks. However, week 3 comes and I start realizing that this is really tough. I have a very long way to go. That's 11 more months and a hell of a lot of holidays. I start losing motivation, not waking up early and sticking to my routine. I begin skipping days, and next thing you know, I'm right back where I started in the previous year. What happened? According to the study called Stuck in the Middle by Andrea Benizzi, Miguel Brandel, and Matteo De Angelis, motivation is not something you can count on. Many people think that motivation is something that will last throughout the journey. After researching and evaluating the data, they found that that is not the case. What do I mean by this? There are 2 ways we perceive goals. There is the end state perspective and the initial state perspective. Typically, individuals will take one of these approaches. Regardless of which one you choose, there is a prolonged period where motivation is extremely low. Researchers found that when you combine the 2 perspectives, it comes to be this U shape. This is not a solution, but simply an observation. Let me illustrate it. A student who begins reading a book initially monitors progress by counting the amount of pages read. As the student reads further, the value of reading each additional page decreases, thus decreasing motivation. As the end of the book nears, the student switches reference points and starts monitoring progress by pages remaining. The value of reading each additional page now increases, thus increasing motivation. This is what gives it that U shape. However, in that U, there is still the low of the low, where there is nearly zero motivation. Many of us have experienced that point, some sooner rather than later, myself included. So you may be wondering, how do we minimize this stuck in the middle point? Here are 3 tips to getting past and minimizing that point. First, you need to acknowledge you are at that middle point instead of saying that you are simply burnt out. You may be exhausted, but you've also lost some motivation. Don't sit in the rut. Instead, acknowledge that it is normal and continue on. My second point, alter the way you perceive your goal. Towards the beginning of your journey, look back at what you have accomplished. After that, near the end of the goal, look towards what you have left to achieve. By having this perception, you will maximize motivation and minimize that stuck in the middle point. My third and final point is to add goals to your goals. If your goal is to run 1,000 miles a year, break it down to months, even weeks. By shortening these goals, it allows for less time in the middle. And if 1 week goes bad, don't worry, because next week is a fresh start. Always keep that narrow perspective instead of looking at the grand scheme of it. Besides these 3 tips, there is still going to be the low moment where you have zero motivation at all, regardless of your perception. That is where the intrinsic drive that Dan Pink talks about comes in. It comes to simply keep yourself moving forward. Don't let how you feel one day keep you from your goals. Push through the pain, stay disciplined, and do not give up. So here's my final thoughts. People always say keep the end goal in mind. Well, I say don't. Change your perspective to keep yourself motivated. The end goal is still the end goal, but without proper perception, you may never reach that end goal. Just take a look at your New Year's resolutions. I hope these tips will help you keep going. Motivation is not going to be there, always. There are going to be tough days. Set a goal, be committed, stay disciplined, and be in the moment. Thank you.